want high-quality playmats? That's NobleAsta. Playmats are guaranteed to help you win locals. Visit 1000noble.com.
Playmats not actually guaranteed to help you win locals. Look cool, maybe, but not help you win. Not at all. Not even close, but maybe.
Hello everybody, my name is Connor and I am here with Pudding versus Purple Luffy. This was a really fun game and I am excited to talk about it. So we end up going first. No Pudding Searcher, unfortunately, so we just pass turn, but I do see that I have the Viola in hand, and that is honestly this turn 3 played one of my favorites. So we just swing 6 and flip our life up. We get the Conquest of the Sea and the Pudding Searcher right there. They go ahead and counter out with the Sanji. We drop 2 to play Viola, and we go ahead, ramp that Dawn. We are sitting pretty. We've got a blocker. We do have the Conquest of the Sea right there, which I feel like with Purple Luffy is pretty good to have. So my opponent goes ahead, swings the 5, and I just block out with the Brulee, and they drop the Eustace Captain Kidd blocker, which is probably, I think, one of the best blockers in Purple, if not the best. I still feel like Queen and Kidd are the best Purple blockers. Let me know what you think. Would love Uta to be good, but so I go ahead and swing at 5 again with Pudding, ramping another Dawn, and with my remaining Dawn, and he does go ahead and block with Kidd, which is fine. That's kind of what I expected. But with my remaining Dawn, I put the Conquest of the Sea down and get an active Dawn. So not the cleanest turn from me, but next turn we're hitting 10 Dawn. So I think I really hit I had the hand to get us all the Dawn we needed, and we are ramping really fast. Our opponent is not ramping as fast. We have a 7k body on board. Our opponent goes ahead and Luffy ability to get his life, or takes his life, getting another Dawn, which it looks like he's also almost at 10. So it's honestly, this game was really fun, just having both of us ramp so fast, and I think this game was really good. I'm excited to talk about it with you guys, but yeah, my opponent just making some choices, deciding what he wants to do. Swings at the 6 at the lead, and I actually am not sure at this point if I had a 10 mom or some way to heal in my hand. I think I do. I try to be more, leaning my cards forward so you guys can see them. But I do end up 2K'ing out with the Sanji, and he goes ahead and plays a big vanilla body. I don't remember what his name is, but I have seen him around before, and passes turn, so I'm okay with that. At our 10 Dawn, we do have a big mom. I also see we have a Sanji in our hand. We swing the 7 with the Katakuri, and he gives us a block, a 2k, another Sanji. We go ahead and poke 5 at him just to kind of get some cards out of hand. We get the Bon Clay, we drop the 10, and we heal. He trashes his life, and we pass turn. I'm feeling pretty good. We've got Sanji, we've got another Katakuri, and it looks like a Poly in our hand. So is that a Poly? That looks like a Poly. Pretty solid hand. My hand is getting a little low, and he does drop the Magellan, which is a little unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world at this point. In my opinion, I think it's a good body to have on board, and it can definitely kind of mess me up. So I think it's good to get him on board, even if it is a little late to affect my curve. But he ends up swinging into Katakuri, and I don't have a ton in my hand, so I do decide to let him go. I am thinking about taking a hit or two here, depending, just because I am low on cards. He does swing 5 with lead, and I do go ahead and take, getting another Viola, which is great, just getting the ability to block her up. And speaking of blockering up, there's another Eustace Kidd, so pretty nasty, honestly. But we end up top decking the Capone. Not too much I really want to do at this point. My hand's a little lackluster. I'd like to get a pudding searcher. I know I have one in life. And I'm thinking about dropping the Sanji blocker, potentially even the Viola blocker. We have the Capone in our hand for the 2K, which, of course, we would love Capone to be in our life, but we will take Capone in our hand as a 2K. So I will go 7. I think I'm swinging 7 at lead just to try and get some cards out of hand or potentially even get a block. He does know at this point that 10 Mom isn't coming down. So he ends up blocking and countering out. And I think this is nice because it gives me the opportunity to potentially clear one of the kids if I end up deciding to swing Mom into that. I'm really thinking about it. But I end up swinging the 12 into that large vanilla body, just really trying to focus on getting cards out of hand. He taps 1 and he gives me the Blast Breath, which is understandable. Kind of, I should have expected it, but I was not. So we end up playing the blocker Sanji and then tapping 2. I think we dropped the Viola. Yeah. So we are blockering up as well. And I just honestly, I wanted to put the Viola down. I could have, in theory, and this is a me thing, I could have in theory looked at his life and reorganized his life, and that probably would have been a better use of my Viola. But it was bugging me that pudding was face out. So yeah, that's probably not the best play. It probably would have been better to use the Viola to look at his life, but he ends up swinging with the Magellan, and we end up taking it. We get that Conquest of the Sea, which is pretty good, depending on how the turn ends up. There is a chance we could go pretty aggressive. I don't think we will, but Conquest of the Sea is going to be really helpful for us. He ends up swinging, and we are just kind of letting our smaller blockers go at this point. We do get him to swing one of the Eustace kids, and we take getting that Charlotte pudding. He actually ends up swinging both Eustace kids, and I do end up countering out of this one. I did want to get that Charlotte pudding because, as you guys can see, I don't have a lot in my hand, but swinging the kid, I am like, I have to do this. And I think I actually end up top decking a 9 Mom, which is like the heart of the cards, baby. They're there for me. So that was very useful. That was very helpful. I think that I probably should have. I didn't expect him to swing the kids, so I go 6 into one of the kids just to get the body off the board. We get a counter out of hand, and I decide to. I'm pretty sure at this point I am going to tap. I'm thinking about tapping 9 Mom, but we'll swing first. I like to swing before dropping fresh bodies. Just, I don't know. I guess I'm so used to playing in the yellow, but we do end up swinging the big Mom into one of the kids, and they let him go. I end up playing 9 Mom, taking, discarding the Conquest of the Sea to heal. And I end up putting Magellan at the bottom of his life. Pretty solid way to get rid of Magellan. Magellan is definitely a tricky card to deal with. -2 done on KO can definitely hurt. Not so much at this point, but it definitely can hurt. So, yeah. But he goes ahead and swings 5 with lead. And I end up taking the hit. We get another pudding, which is, it's good. It's counter if we need it. It's something big if we it can potentially get us another 10 Mom, which would help us whittle his life down, because we are a little bit struggling at this point. But he ends up swinging the Eustace Kid blocker, and I give him my hand to counter out. Thinking that he could drop the 9 Kaido. He could have done a couple of things. So he ends up swinging pretty big into Big Mom there, and I'm torn between blocking with Sanji or letting it go, but I do decide to block with Sanji. I'd like to keep all my Big Moms alive if I can. And he drops another Magellan. Pretty annoying, but that's Magellan there. 2 Dawn up, he passes turn. I get a card in my hand, and boy oh boy, I can't wait to see what it is, because I have forgotten. But we get all our Dawn, so it's just a matter of figuring out what to do. And I think at this point, clearing board is useful. Clearing board is kind of where I want to be, and I'm doing the math right now. I'm assuming that he has 2 Blast Breath. Will he use 2 Blast Breaths to keep 1 character alive? I don't think so, but maybe. But we do end up going 15 at the vanilla body, just to get rid of it, just get that body off the board, and kind of limit what my opponent can do. I'm pretty sure I picked a card that's kind of just useless at this point in the game, and that's why I'm just playing around with my Dawn, just really clearing board, loading up, clearing board. I think I end up swinging into the kid, and I'm doing the math to make sure that he couldn't save any of his characters with 2 potential Blast Breaths, but I do end up poking at lead with 8 and getting a Blast Breath out of his hand. So we have 1 card in hand, and it looks to be a Capone. Yeah, so Capone, pretty good for a counter at this point in the game, but not much, not very good to play on the board, which explains this last turn that I had. But with my opponent at full Dawn, I'm definitely really worried about what he can be doing, what he's going to do. He ends up playing the X-Drake to get me to discard the card in my hand, which is honestly pretty painful. It means I got 2 hits coming at me, potentially. He ends up using leader ability to ramp, get one of the Dawn back, get the Dawn back he minus for the X-Drake. And he ends up swinging pretty big at Big Mom, and yeah, I have nothing in hand. I gotta let her go, unfortunately. He swings a 5, and I take, and we get the Brulee. Honestly, so grateful that Brulee is in my life at this point. With 2 life left, I feel like there is and he has 2 cards in hand. There is a chance I can go for a game, but I'm pretty sure I want to play it safe. I feel like lately I've been going for a game too soon, and so I'm not gonna. There was a second where I thought I can load Brulee up and swing with Brulee, but I was like, no, we're gonna do this slowly. We end up swinging into Magellan. Magellan dies, and we end up minusing the 2 Dawn that was on Magellan, and I don't know what I pulled in my hand, but I don't think it's very good considering how I'm swinging my Dawn, or swinging with my Dawn. I swing 7. It's a Brulee. Okay, it's Viola. That makes sense. So I swing 7, he takes, and we play Viola. No cards in hand, 2 blockers up. So we can potentially keep 9 Mom around. We could potentially take this last life and get something. I'm looking through my trash, and I think I was looking for beige. Oh yeah, I think he was like, that life is probably beige, and I was like, I don't know, and I looked, and I was like, there's a good chance. So he swings 5, and I take, and there he is, the beige, your boy Beige. I end up playing Beige to stun his leader, and with 2 blockers up, I'm feeling pretty okay, but he sees my 2 blockers, and he raises me 2 blockers. And there I am being like, you want to take a card out of my hand? And honestly, like, this was not looking good. This was looking pretty tough for me. We get to 10 Dawn, but we end up playing the Pudding Search, and this Pudding Search, you see right there, it's the sovereignty, the conquest of the sea, and I am looking, that's me looking, it's a Big Mom card. So I'm thinking about taking 10 Mom, but instead I take Conquest of the Sea, because with the Conquest of the Sea, I can get rid of both of those blockers, and I think with that, I can go for game. So we end up tapping 6, Conquest of the Sea, to get rid of both of those blockers. And we know he's got 2 cards in hand. He's got a Magellan with no counter in his life. And I think I'm trying to decide how to swing here. I swing the 9. I don't know if I should have swung the 8 first. And then I swing 9 with Big Mom, 8 with Pudding, and we end up getting there. So really, honestly, that Conquest of the Sea saved my life, and I honestly forgot it was in there. When I started playing my Pudding deck, I was like, oh, like, wait. It's a pretty solid card. I really like the card. Definitely at this point, happy it's in there. For matches like against Blue Delphi, or against some of the decks that run smaller blockers, I think actually it clears a 6. So really good for getting rid of blockers if you need it. It is a 6 cost, which kind of is unfortunate, but at the same time, I think it's worth it. So that is going to do it for me, guys. If you guys liked this video, hit that like button down below. It helps me out more than you could ever know. Go ahead and subscribe if you are new. And remember, we are almost at 500 subs. When we hit 500 subs, I will be bringing some off-meta cheese to locals. I'm working on a Rosinante list, and I am also peeking at a purple-yellow croc list, because that's the deck that really started us off. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.